Know it. Stolen and I know it. Oops. Hey, we're live. Oop. Just listening to my most favorite video out there. Let me shut that down real quick. Oh my. Oh my. So hello YouTube. We are live tonight. Let me do something with that. that's just a hilarious array there. That video was done by the guys at Ranger Up Video back in 2012. And just to let you know how crazy people are, I had people send me screenshots of this saying, you need to look into this guy. Look at what he's wearing. And I haven't seen that bad yet, but he has got all kinds of shit on that uniform. And you notice the Jeremy DeWitt expert marksmanship badge, but he's got a whole bunch of little rockers underneath it, what we call the big ladder. And usually when you see something like that and they got like 15 things on it, they're full of shit. That's 90% of the time. But anyway, oh, geez. Let me go ahead and make some changes here, get myself over here centered, and good evening on this lovely Monday evening. I had a good day at work. Nice day. It was beautiful outside. It was in the 50s up here in Massachusetts. And it was pretty good. But tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about some stolen valor stuff. I'm going to go over some investigations I did in the past years. Some of my more notorious individuals that, you know, they did the extra mile and had the sock puppet accounts and had people sending me emails trying to validate, oh, I served with this guy, blah, blah, blah. And they give me all kinds of bull crap. And we'll hit on a few of them. By all means, if you want to join the stream, I'm going to go ahead and throw the link up here again. Please, you don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to. It doesn't matter. Join the stream if you want to just jump in here and talk. I would more than welcome you. This is open mic night. Mr. Martin might pop in. He's I finally had to just hide him from the channel because he's just so over the top with his Ranger Special Forces Lieutenant claim, and he gets into that whole sovereign citizen horse crap and just over the top. But you never know. I know he's got sock puppet accounts, and I did post a link to this in the description of the live stream as well. And I'm going to keep posting it here on the chat. So who knows? Maybe he'll pop in here. But I will not talk to him about anything but his military claims. I'm not going to get into his constitutional law horse crap because that's exactly what it is. That's his interpretation or what he believes it should be. And that's probably because he thinks he doesn't need a license. And that's probably because his was suspended and he couldn't get it back. So, you know, that's on him. But welcome, everyone. Sorry I missed last week. Just crazy week. This week's crazy as well. Just a lot of stuff going on. And I haven't really been able to get up and get any content out there. But tonight I wanted to talk about some stolen valor stuff. I got a couple of slideshows, just a few pictures of a couple of different people that decided to wear all kind of accoutrements on uniforms, dress uniforms at their weddings. And they're pretty laughable. One of them I did a whole video on. That was the Round Ranger, the guy down in North Carolina. Yeah. Oh my God. And they call him the Round Ranger because he's probably about 60 pounds overweight. He would be what we call in the airborne community a heavy drop. So I'm going to wait, see if we get a few more people in here because it just started. And it's probably not the best time. 7 p.m. Eastern is probably not a great time to be doing live streams, but I don't like to go too late, and I don't like to blab on too much. In regards to my motorcycle stuff, I was supposed to do a suspension video this week on Olin suspension. However, due to the shipping problems, they still haven't come in. They've only been on order since July. Yeah, July, maybe the first week of August. It was right before I went to Sturgis, and the rear shocks still haven't come in. The fronts have the cartridges for the front. So that we're going to be doing both front and back suspension on that. And then also I'm going to be doing an exclusive on a European company, and I don't want to mispronounce the name, Energica, I think is what it is. And they make electric sport bikes. And my buddy Rob is the New England dealer for Energica. And we're going to be doing a thing on those bikes, complete review. I'm going to take one out for a ride, get some helmet cam video on it. It's going to feel weird riding a motorcycle. It doesn't make any noise, but they're super powerful. They can really haul ass, and they got lots of torque. Those electric motors, it's like instantaneous torque when you roll the throttle on. So that's the motorcycle content that'll be coming up. I started digging through some of my Stolen Valor files, my investigations and my replies and that stuff. And being the tech geek that I am, I actually dabbled a little bit in amateur radio for a while. And actually, the very first two Stolen Valor things I did, one guy was I knew through HF radio, talked to him a few times, and he was claiming Vietnam, combat engineer, Bronze Star, that he got in the mail after he came back from Vietnam. And when I did get his records, he had been in Vietnam, but he was a radio operator and ran a Mars station. Mars station is so soldiers could go in there, they could get on this radio and do a phone patch back home and speak to their loved ones. So, he did serve. He was in Vietnam. That's more than honorable, but he had to keep adding on to it, saying he was a combat engineer and got a Bronze Star, that they sent him in the mail, which, yeah. And he had no orders for it. He did have a Vietnam service ribbon with a Bronze Star device. I don't know. The guy was kind of senile. So shortly after that, there was another guy that was on that group that was claiming to be a Navy SEAL. And we all know how easy it is to out a Navy SEAL. Just send an email off to Don Shipley, and Don Shipley can tell you exactly if he was a SEAL or not, which, in fact, this guy wasn't. And when we got his records back, he was some kind of typewriter repairman or something. But those aren't the ones I really wanted to talk about tonight. The first one was a ham radio operator by the name of Dale Kubicek. Now, he's got a biography of himself on, there's a website called qrz.com. It's for ham radio operators. And somebody had sent me a link to it, and he was claiming that he was Navy combat Vietnam era. However, when I got to looking into it, of course, and I've said this many times, the math doesn't add up. And it didn't add up for him either, because by the time he would have been in Vietnam, there were no Navy forces really doing anything over there, because it was the earliest he could have been over there would have been early 74. And the ship that he was actually assigned to after he finished his schooling wasn't in the Vietnam waters at that time. So he lied his way. Just trying to think what. And then when I actually confronted him about it, I assume he came up with a sock puppet account, sent me an email saying it was his cousin, and his cousin was never right after he came back from Vietnam because he had seen all this combat. And combat operations pretty much stopped in 73, and the final pullout was early 75. And when I started looking at his records, it didn't make sense because none of it matched up to anything that he was claiming. So he didn't get out of his schools. Well, he reported to his ship on 18 November 74. So, and then his ship wasn't in the Vietnam waters during that time period. So I don't know what kind of combat he saw, unless it was, I don't know, fighting with Marines on the ship. I don't know. That could be it. Who we get in here? Riding Humboldt County. Good evening, sir. Hiram, good evening. The Smeagol Dork. I'm not sure who they are. I don't think I've heard of those. Gary, what's up, buddy? Getting snow pretty quick. Gonna have to put the scooter away. Looks like Wednesday we're gonna get our first snowfall. All right. Let's get to my lovely guys that just couldn't help themselves. And they just had to wear these uniforms for their weddings. Toby. This kid's name is Toby Hayes. And he posted a bunch of pictures and somebody sent them to me. And when you look at his uniform, well, there you go. He's got that expert marksmanship badge with all the bars underneath it. So he's an expert in everything the military ever had. I don't know what all of those are. A lot of times you'll see guys with rifle, pistol, grenade, but they only wear one bar. Nobody wears multiple bars on their marksmanship medal. It's whatever their primary weapon is, that's usually what they put on there. Unless you're coming straight out of basic training and then you've got nothing on your uniform, so you put all that crap on there. I did it. Everybody else did it. And then once you get to your permanent duty station, it just becomes no big deal. But Toby posted these pictures, and this was, I think, around 2012 time frame. Got a lot of fruit salad, airborne air salt, scuba bubble. Looks like a CIB. I don't know what's under it, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Rob the card?
Oh, sorry. Let me just decline this call. And let me turn my phone off because I don't need people calling me when I'm trying to do things. All right, we're on silent mode. All right. So the next picture in this debacle, here's a little close-up of the crap he's got on his uniform there. And the top ribbon, I haven't looked it up. I don't know what it is. But he's got a bronze star. Looks like it's got a V in it for Valor. Purple heart. He's got an Army Commendation Medal with a bunch of oak leaves on it. And then some of the normal fruit salad. But then he's got some other stuff. I have no idea what it is. And I just haven't spent a bunch of time. But he is wearing a first Special Forces First Special Forces patch, and he was claiming that he was a Delta Force operator. He is wearing the Special Forces tab, the long tab, what they call a long tab, and he's wearing corporal stripes. So that right there tells me he's definitely full of crap. Yeah, chances of a corporal getting into Delta are slim and none. And Toby kind of looks like a fat screwball anyway. And then, of course, the picture with all the girls. Hey, there you go. Stolen and I know it. There you go. Hey, look at these medals. Yeah, he was stolen valor, demoted. Hey, James, Dan, good evening. Yeah. So this, like I said, these pictures got sent to me, and we did the background, and I went through, the SF checks, and nobody's ever heard of this guy. Um, he may have been in the military. I never even bothered with his records because all of this crap and only being a corporal. Um, yeah, that's a pretty massive amount of stuff there for being an E4. So don't know, but they're out there. People send me this stuff, and some of them I don't even bother with. But then we're going to take a look at one of my favorites, and that's old Chubbs here, the Round Ranger. Yet again, his wedding. Borrowed somebody's car and took wedding photos on the car, standing there in a set of dress blues. E6, he's wearing a Ranger scroll on the sleeve, so he's pretty much saying he's in 75th Ranger Battalion with that uniform, with his beret cocked over the wrong eye. You don't dress that way. It's supposed to go the other way. The flash dresses over your left eye and the beret drapes over to the right, not over your right eye and dressing to the left. That was one of the first big giveaways, and I'm sure there's probably Marines that are not Marines, but Rangers that are like flipping out over it. And of course, we do have some additional photographs. This next one is, let me just make sure I get the right slideshow here. Oh, look at this sad sack. He's wearing the regular Army beret, again, dressed over the wrong eye, along with his accoutrements. I have no idea what that yellow cord is for. Beyond me. But Mr. Church here, he was also impersonating a paramedic in North Carolina, Lenore, North Carolina, to be exact. I guess he had enrolled in the school, but was running around with all kinds of crap. But this guy's just a mess. Katie, good evening. Welcome. Let me post the link again. If anybody wants to come join in and heckle or whatever, I don't care. Please feel free. Yeah, he was demoted, stolen valor, demoted. And of course, I've got one more picture of this numbnuts. There we go. Look at that. Isn't he a fine specimen? Wearing a Combat 82nd patch on his dress blues there. And you either wear ribbons or you wear the medals. And he's got a combination of both, of course. And what we found out about him is he never even finished infantry AIT, and he was bounced out of the North Carolina National Guard. Failure to meet his training requirements or whatever. And they were really good. They sent me a big old stack of stuff on this guy. But we're going right back to the wedding pictures. I see a lot of wedding pictures. People send me stuff on Facebook. They send me links. They send me links to people's pages that they've got all these pictures with all this crap. Yeah, he was wearing a Purple Heart. My heart's bleeding for him. But they send me links to their stuff, and I kind of look at it, and just by looking at it, you can tell. And those were two, Mr. Delta and Mr. Round Ranger. Those were two. There's another gentleman. I don't know. Let me see if I still got that up. I think I do. I may have, I may not. I do not. There was another gentleman. and I need to read this. Now, this is another guy that's involved with amateur radio. And he got in some trouble doing some stupid shit on amateur radio. And he sent an email to somebody, and they immediately found me. And in this email, he sends the email to this guy, and he says, "This is from one combat disabled veteran to another. I will not resort to name calling as so many of the folks on that frequency do, and I will not participate in this childish behavior. Here is a brief self-portrait of myself." All right, listen closely. "I enlisted in the 80s and went west, way west. I jumped out of many different aircraft 167 times and have 32 and a half kills. The half is an assist." You can't make this shit up. You really can't. I don't even know what that would, how I don't know how that happens. On active duty is what he says. "I have saved more lives than I can honestly remember. I was disabled via an unfortunate combat-related accident." Now, there was another email that described his combat-related accident as he was on a submarine. Now, this guy's supposedly Army, or he didn't really say, but he was on a submarine and got shot in the head. Swear to God, that's what he put in an email. Shot in the head. And that's how he got disabled. "I was disabled via an unfortunate combat-related accident. I went to combat as a civilian and have 2 kills and a few saved lives as well as a piece of shrapnel that was removed from my leg. I am combat wounded from the military and as a civilian." Really? And then he goes on to talk about whatever kind of shit he was in. He was talking trash on amateur radio, and he got in trouble over it. And it was hilarious. But I'm looking at this. Now, this guy was a contractor for the U.S. Army, and he was testing some kind of radio tubes for something. Needless to say, shortly after all of this transpired, he was no longer a contractor. So now let's talk about his actual military career. So he was in the U.S. Army Reserve as a tactical wire operations specialist with the 378th S&S Battalion at Fort Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania. He went to basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Did his advanced individual training at Fort Gordon, Georgia, and this is 81 time frame. He reported to his unit in November 4th of 81, and by April 29th, 84, he was no longer in the Army Reserve. He never spent any time outside of Fort Indiantown Gap, according to his records, and was never anything but a wire installer, from what I can see. Tactical wire ops specialist, wire installer, combat signaler, and I'm not sure what that, it's a 31 Kilo 10, which would have been an MOS from the 80s time frame. I'm not sure if that one got reassigned to a different number or not. But yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Come on, guys. Somebody needs to jump in here. We need to have a discussion about this stuff. Throw this out here. Yeah, he was a cable guy. Exactly, James. So, yeah, the whole shot in the head on a submarine thing. And he managed to get himself listed on the USS Carver. It was a submarine. He managed to get on their crew listing somehow or another. And when they were approached about it and shown the evidence and given a copy of the military records, they immediately took him off the list. He had somehow bullshitted his way onto their ships list on their YouTube or on their Facebook group or on their website. Man, these guys will go to no holds barred. They try and validate their craziness by any means necessary. Let's see. I had a couple of other ones too I wanted to talk about. We talked about Kubitschek. He's a turd in a punch bowl. Oh, here's one actually. And I was going to scan these in, but I would have to redact so much stuff off of these to be able to put them up, because a lot of this stuff comes back with a lot of my information on it as well, which I do not make public. This one's from 2014. Somebody sent me this guy, Robert Giordano. And they were suspecting him of stolen valor because he was claiming he was a combat MP in Vietnam, but that he had a combat infantry badge, which combat infantry badges are usually only awarded to infantry soldiers. However, he did in fact receive orders and received a combat infantry badge for actions that he was involved with in Vietnam. So I started looking at his records, and of course his records came back. He's got National Defense Service Medal, Combat Infantry Badge, Bronze Star Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Air Medal, and a Purple Heart. Air Medal usually has to deal with guys that get pulled to be door gunners on Hueys or whatever. Yeah, KD, that's good. He was at the gunfight in the Golden Corral. Were they having a gunfight over who got the end piece of the prime rib or what? I miss Golden Corrals. I used to like to go there. You could fill up cheap money. But probably one of the only times I've ever seen a military policeman actually receive a combat infantry badge. Oh, geez. Here's another one. I don't remember what his claim to fame was, but I want to say it was another special forces guy. And there was a picture of him in a dress uniform, first sergeant, special forces. And he was actually he was discharged as a basic airman from the Air Force, and he was security police. And let's see, Patrick Air Force Base in Florida. And they chaptered him out. So they're out there. And you know what, guys? Like I said, I've posted my email address, MSGRetired@MSGRetired.com. If you run across any of these guys, I thought I was really going to get inundated after Veterans Day, but I've only received a couple of requests. I got one request, somebody that's trying to get records on an uncle who was in World War II, who was killed in action, they believe, during the Battle of the Bulge. That was the right time frame. They had his the date that he was killed in action, but they couldn't find any of his records, and the family couldn't find it, and they really wanted to get records. So I've been assisting them with the Freedom of Information Act requests through the National Personal Records Center to try and get whatever military records they have on this gentleman who was killed overseas. And That was one of the ones I got, and then there were a couple of other ones I got that there was nothing to them. I couldn't do anything with it because they were very common names, and they couldn't either get me a date of birth or a social or something like that. If you can at least get me a date of birth, I can usually track down a social if I need to. If it's a very common name, you really need that social security number, or in the case of Vietnam and prior, a service number. That makes it so much easier for them to be able to locate the records. Whereas just a name, a very common name and a date of birth, they're going to get hundreds of hits. And I guess maybe the clerks just don't like to sit there and go through hundreds of names looking for the date of birth that I'm requesting. And I've still got some requests out that I haven't got anything back on. I have gotten a couple of other ones back. I haven't made them public. I've returned the findings to the people that requested it. And if they want me to do something a little more public about it, I will, in fact, do that at some point. Come on, guys. Somebody get in here. Hopefully, everybody had a good Turkey Day. And I hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas. It looks like most of my stuff is here. So if you want to get a fake DD214, I'm telling you, if you want to lower your car insurance, call Don Shipley. I love Don to death, and I hate to do this to him. But make sure you call Don Shipley, because he can get you anything you want. Don does a great job with that stuff. And he just posted one guy, because Don has got examples of fake DD214s on his website. And guys will see that, and now they're calling him saying, hey, listen, I need to get a DD214. The last one was so they could get reduced rates for camping at national parks or something. I was like, you shitting me. And the guy was telling him all this stuff, and Don drags it on, and just lets them, dig themselves a nice big hole, and then he lowers the boom on them, and it's pretty hilarious. But he just did one of those. Yeah, well, you could have got free meals on Veterans Day. All you have to do is just, put something on that looked like it might be military and claim military status, and you could have got a free meal at many restaurants in the area. Yeah, Don. But Don doesn't hold anything back either, so I don't think his blood pressure is too high. He lets it rip. So I got to drink some coffee. It was a long day today. I was up at 4:30. I worked a day shift and got home and had some things to do, and then had to get this all ready. I was going to try and put a little more photographs and stuff in there, but I really want some people to join into the stream. Don't care. We can talk about anything. I got my stolen valor stuff out of the way. I didn't think it was going to take very long, but I was really hoping maybe somebody who's not scared to be on camera, or you don't even have to have a camera. Yeah, anybody, somebody jump in here. I was expecting Mr. Martin to show up since he wants to debate me. I don't want to have a debate about his constitutional law shit. I just want him to explain his military claims, how he took an oath as a Airborne Ranger Special Forces Lieutenant. Good evening, Eric. Welcome. You'll have to catch up with all the stolen valor crap I just went over. Now I'm just BSing. So if you want to jump in here, come on in. I'm going to post a link again. Everybody's being shy tonight. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. If you guys got questions of me, ask away. I could talk about my military career. I have a very colorful military career spanning many years. So, anybody want to know about jump school? I can tell you about jump school. Oh, there's Owen. My brother Owen. I'm going to bring him in. we were at Fort Rucker at the same time. I attempted to go to U.S. Army Flight School and smashed my. I don't think you can really see the scars too well. Oh, you can see some of them. All down in through here, I had to have some reconstruction done on my hand. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, we're doing good. Doing good.
I
Got
saw
them.
you're having a hard time getting anybody to join. I said,
Yeah,
well,
everybody's shy and bashful. Nobody wants to come on and just bullshit.
yeah. So I just figured I'd jump in and say hi. And I cut. I think I got in about 10 minutes late on some of your fakers on there. But I tell you one thing I do want to bring up is I former Marine. I've been doing with the Marine Corps League, doing a lot of color guard, honor guard stuff down here in Florida. And as you're probably familiar, I think most of the service organizations, VFW, Legion, I know the Legion has the Sons of American Legion, and the VFW has its auxiliary, and I think AMVETS has a similar thing. But started meeting some of these guys that that never been in the military, but that's the first thing they want to tell you. Hey, I was never in the military, and we have a few in the Marine Corps League that are associates, but I've never had one that even wanted to imply he'd been in the military. They're just proud to serve on, they joined because of their father or relatives, stuff like that. And we've got a few on our color guard here with the Marine Corps League, and I really I respect these guys when they go out of their way to tell you, hey, I was never in the military. And so I don't know what you've seen, if you're in any of those memberships up there.
I'm actually a life member with the VFW. However, I've been in my VFW a couple of times, but I don't drink, so not a good environment for me because that's mainly what it is. It's a bar with cheap drinks. My VFW really doesn't do a lot. Um, Squatch, welcome. Yes, I had tons of issues acclimating to civilian lifestyle. Um, and and I'm sure Owen will be able to chime in on this as well. My biggest problem was, especially at work, is dealing with the work ethic. Um, just the work ethic is horrible. I don't get it. They don't want to work, or they want to do. I'm doing my 8 and going home, and if there's a shift that needs to be covered or somebody needs to do something, they don't want to do it, and it's always meh. Why is it always me? I got forced on a shift. All this other crap. That and just dealing with all the whiny bullshit. Um, it's kind of like I don't I get aggravated about the whining because Jesus Christ, the whining. Yeah, exactly, Mike. What work ethic? There's very little work ethic. And that's what I've found. Now, Owen's a little bit different. He went into, you were a contractor, right? Once you retired, once you left military, Owen?
Yeah, I did defense contractor for 22 years up until January of this year. And yeah, I think there's, probably, three styles contractors: the go-getters that look for look for, ways to make things better; the guys that are just trying to get by; and then the bottom of the barrel for me, which I always labeled, they were oxygen wasters. And that's all they did was waste oxygen and draw a paycheck. And my last couple assignments, these guys are getting paid the same as you are, and we're making $600 to $700 a day, and 7 days a week. So you're hauling in a hefty check, and to pull the weight to do, the jobs of your coworker that's doing absolutely nothing except wasting oxygen, surfing the internet, playing games, watching movies. It's frustrating. And, once a company gets them overseas, they really don't want to go through the headache of firing them and replacing them. They hope they'll get better, which they never do. They never say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to turn over a new leaf and really start pulling my weight. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of them. And, it's the same guys that if they had served in the military, all they're working on is trying to get disability for all kinds of things that, they don't have anything wrong with them. And a few guys did, but
things that never happen.
Yeah, and
Yep.
that's a whole nother show for you there.
It's a mess. I've got a couple of friends that are VSOs, veteran service officers. Let me just bring in combat mechanic jumped in.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Hey, Merry Christmas, gentlemen.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too. What the hell was I going to say? I was going somewhere, and then I brought you in. The mind's a terrible thing to waste, I'll tell you. But we were just discussing, so when you get out of the military, how was your transition into civilian life, civilian workforce?
Are you asking me, Owen?
No, I'm asking combat mechanic.
Okay.
It was pretty good. I moved to Thailand. I used my GI Bill. I found a American accredited university. Got my bachelor's degree at a remote American campus, and then came back and I worked for AT&T for about 1.5 years as a machine operator. And then I went as a contractor back doing what I used to do in the military, working 810s, working weapon systems on 810s, and was making good money at that, obviously. But they lost the contract, so here I am.
So you spent very little time in the actual civilian workforce.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, I was just mentioning that my integration back now, of course, after 30 years in the military, it was a tough struggle going back into civilian life and trying to acclimate myself to all the whining and the everybody's owed something, it seems like nowadays. They don't want to do the work, but they want to get the pay. That's been kind of my stuff. And it's no better. I'm not going to say what I do for work, but it's a little bit better than the first couple of jobs I did. Yeah, I went back to Hollywood. It reminds me of some of the cadence we used to sing. Looking good, ought to be in Hollywood. Yep, I went back to Hollywood. What kind of other questions we got out here, guys? Maximum effective range of an excuse. It's about 32 inches because that's my inseam, and that's how long it takes for me to stick my boot up somebody's ass. Yeah, not being able to trust your fellow workers, Mike, that's a tough one too. There's very few guys that I have the trust in that I had in my military family. It's not the same. You could almost depend on the guy on your left and your right for the most part. What else we got? Boatload of people that want to get paid for doing nothing. Joe Tato. I like that.
Joe Tato.
That's a good one. I don't and I don't talk politics. I'll talk shit about the president, but I talk shit about the last president and the one before that and the one before that. But like I said, I won't get into any kind of political debates. I will shut it off at that point. I just don't like getting into politics because you just make too many enemies with that stuff. But some of the stuff that's going around is pretty funny stuff.
Well, we can talk about religion instead.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely get you thrown out of here. Religion and politics, two things you don't talk about.
Yes, sir.
Protests at funerals and such. Oh, and I'm going to send this one off to you. Since you're doing the honor guard stuff, have you ever had any protests at any of the funerals?
No, I haven't seen any protests. Everybody's been real respectful. In fact, I just did one kind of a short notice down at Cape Canaveral Veterans Cemetery the other day, and he was an Army guy, but they weren't sure they could get the Legion to do it, so we showed up, and the Legion actually showed up with their honor guard. So, we were like, well, do you want one of us to go home, or? And they were like, well, we'll entertain the idea. Let's do it together, even though we had different procedures. But the family was real receptive. The only time I've ever seen any type, it wasn't a protest, it was a family squabble. In fact, this is when I was at Benning flying medevac. I got assigned as a casualty assistance officer for a CW2 that had passed away. And he had just remarried before he passed away, and he didn't have a will, and so his sons put on a big stink at the funeral and said that if I presented the flag to the widow, that there was going to be a fist fight. I guess with me, and so. We compromised and got another flag, and we did two presentations, one to the widow and one to the sons. And but they kicked her out of her house the day after the funeral, and so I ended up being on casualty assistance duty for 60 days, which is normally 30 days. But no, people showing up protesting funerals. I haven't seen that, at least down here. Been doing this in Florida lately, but. And hope I don't have to see it, but I know it exists out there, though.
So I participated in a funeral procession for one of the Marines that was killed in Afghanistan, one of the last 13, the female out of Lawrence, Mass. And we went up there. And we didn't see anything negative anywhere. Of course, you would have to be a complete stoop to have tried to do anything negative about it, because there must have been, I'll bet you there was close to 600 or 700 bikers there from all different groups, from Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. We had about 110 bikes there. And there were just tons of motorcyclists, and we lined the streets, both sides of the entire funeral procession, all the way to the cemetery. But we didn't see anything negative. It was nothing but positive. I have heard of, and I'm not going to get into religion, but there was some church down south that was protesting a lot of veteran funerals. Westboro Baptist Church, that's what it was. And they were protesting a lot of the military funerals back during Iraq and Afghanistan. And what happened, that's pretty much how the Patriot Guard was formed. And they would go out and just block any protesters with a line of people holding flags. And that's pretty much how the Patriot Guard actually started, was because of the Westboro Baptist Church doing the protests on some of the military that were coming back that were killed in action. So that was pretty. I remember seeing some of that, and those people were just whack jobs. I don't know how they could consider themselves Christian by doing that, but yeah, like I said, it's religion. I'm not going to get into that either because that can go astray really quick. Any other questions, guys? You guys got anything you want to talk about? Owen, combat? Crickets.
I think the only thing I could add to that was how the media was catching the top man looking at his watch every time a casket went by. I wanted to just puke.
Yeah, I did see that. That was kind of shitty on his part. No doubt.
Yeah, like you said, no politics. So
I'm going to mute myself for a second because I do have to take this call.
I think
Sorry about that, but sometimes you just got to take those work calls. And luckily, it's shitty weather out, so I don't have to leave.
I was reading your lips, and I made out when you answered it. You said Jack Bauer, and yes, Mr. President.
Yeah, it might as well have been that, but somebody was needing a drone, and the weather outside is shit. It's the rain's picking up, and it's getting really windy. So,
any snow up that way yet?
No, we're due to get 1 to 3 on Wednesday. So tomorrow I'm going to spend the day putting the bike away.
None here in Florida.
No, if you get snow in Florida, there's a problem.
Yeah, I had enough of that snow stuff there in Massachusetts.
My extended warranty, James, I've already got 3 of them. I can't get any more. I've got 3 extended warranties on all my cars. But you know what? They just found a guy somewhere in India that was in a room with over $1 billion that was destined to go to me, and I didn't know about it. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. You know what? And we have to bring up, as far as stolen valor goes, we don't have a choice. We've got Jeremy DeWitt calling from Fallujah. Of course we do. How can we forget Jeremy DeWitt? He is by far one of the most prolific impersonators ever. I know, James, but this kid went to the extremes on everything with his funeral escort uniform that looked like an LAPD uniform, and then his special forces dress greens uniform with a bunch of shit on it that shouldn't have been on there. And he was a convicted felon at the age of 18. So that says it all. That says why he has no military records. But if you ask him, he jumped into Fallujah and hurt his back. That's why he couldn't be a firefighter in Florida. So instead, he decided to become a fake cop. Oh, geez. Yeah, I almost forgot about old Jeremy. I'm actually looking forward to when he gets out of jail. I can only imagine what the content's going to be like. It's going to be great. We're not really sure how he's going to reinvent himself or what he is going to become, especially with all the restrictions they put on him for his probation. So I'll be curious to see what happens once he finally gets released. Oh, I'll be there. You know it. I'll be there when he gets released. I'll be watching.
I was watching another streamer on YouTube about him, and he was saying that they're basically setting him up for a payoff. When he gets out, he's going to turn around and sue the state and make some money off of it. I think it was
Sue him for what?
Police Tube. I don't know. He broke it down. I can't remember all the details, man, but he broke it down, and he's saying that's what he sees in the future. It was interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, but
He's pretty much got nothing. Pretty much got nothing, unless he's going to go after the two cops that were involved with that one traffic stop where they arrested him for carrying a concealed weapon, which wasn't a firearm, and it wasn't concealed. And if you look at the statutes, I don't know. I tried to stay away from all of the civil crap and the civilian side of the house. I pretty much dealt mainly with just the stolen valor stuff, just because that's my forte, and it was very easy for me to get verification. Somebody had already got a records check on him, and nothing was found. And then I went through Army ATARs, the training system. I had somebody check that, and he was never in any of the schools. And we checked by his social. So if he had ever been to any military, and Owen, you know this, if you've ever been to any military school, you're in ATARs. That database has got every military school there is, and it would have your reporting time, your reporting date, if you graduated or not. That's all part of the ATAR system. And we're lucky enough through some of my contacts, we've got an asset that has access to that and can check to see what kind of military schools. Yeah, he was so valuable, they looked over the pedo portion. Yep. Yeah, being a convicted sex offender and on the sex offender registry, yeah, it really doesn't go hand in hand with a military career.
His brother got busted for the same thing.
Yeah, there was a video on it. There was a video of the arrest. Somebody had posted on it. So I guess the apples don't fall far from the tree on that.
Birds of a feather, yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're half brothers. I think they're half brothers, two different dads, same mom. Well, guys, my coffee's done. It's been about an hour. I knocked out my stolen valor right off the bat. I appreciate you. You guys are like my saviors. You guys jump in here all the time. I really appreciate it. Both of you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
I do appreciate you guys coming on here and keep the topics going, and gives everybody another view to the differences in the military and what your experiences have been. It's been great. Yep, two different dads. I knew I was right on that. Anybody got any last minute questions? And then we're going to wind it up.
Happy holidays, guys. I'm out.
All right. Same to you, Combat Medic. Have a great evening. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll catch you next time. Owen, same to you, brother.
All right.
Hope you have a good Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll be back again next week. I need some possible subjects for next week. I don't know. think I'm going to do a motorcycle stream next week. I think I'm going to try and get some guys in here, some bikers in here, and maybe we'll talk some motorcycle stuff. I don't know, but we shall see. With that, hey, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you like the content. You know, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, doesn't matter, either or. You can do whatever. If you're out riding your bike, which we're not going to be doing it much up here with the snow coming, keep the shiny side up, rubber side down. As always, have yourself a great evening.